Welcome back to Wrestling Travel Presents the Lockdown Sessions. Today, we have with us Rico De La Vega. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, Rico De La Vega. Maybe you could roll the R a little bit, you know?
That's what I need to learn. That's the entire. People think they're gonna tune into an interview. It's gonna be a Spanish lesson here.
It's all in the tongue. The ladies love it, but you didn't hear that from me.
We'll leave that in. That'll give us maybe some risque viewing. Rico, we started doing the lockdown sessions based off of something we did for WrestleMania, which is, man, it's like 6 weeks ago that was. We did the virtual Mania crawl, and we raised over $3,300 for the Red Cross, and you were a very big part of that, helping us promote that. So give me the opportunity to say thank you for helping us out, and now we want to get to know a little bit more about you.
Well, before we continue, give me the opportunity to thank you and allow me to be part of it, you know, as far as even in a promotional manner, just getting the word out there and being able to raise that much, you know, for such a great cause. And not only such a great cause, but given the time right now, like we discussed earlier, you know, it's a weird situation right now. So the fact that we were able to still be able to get such a generous donation, you know, speaks volumes on the people involved. So thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thank you. And like we did discuss a little bit earlier, as we pulled the curtain out from our show here, that both of us, $3,300. Some people may be like, yeah, that doesn't sound like a whole lot. But when you do not know where your next dollar is coming from, and the wrestling fans generously opening their wallet to help out a great cause, especially, you know, I don't know where we are now compared to then, because everything that was a bigger unknown. But now, as we go forward in this pandemic, there are some things are opening up, some things are not. So it's crazy times.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, and obviously, I'm counting my blessings because I'm considered an essential worker. I'm by no means a hero. I'm not one of those essential workers, but in my shoot job, I am. So the routine never broke. I'm still going to work. I've been, but you definitely see what a difference ever since all this started going down it has made on people, you know, mentally, emotionally. It's just a whole different ballgame. You know, I guess the optimist in me, I would love to see everybody like move forward towards a better tomorrow. You know, be more unified. Especially now, you know, we take for granted so many things that we have, and you know, this should serve as some type of epiphany for most that just kind of go by the, you know, just day by day. You know, the freedoms that we had before, things are definitely going to change from here on out. I just hope that we can grow from this and we can unify and use this power for us to move forward in society. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm always optimistic for that too. Just the fact that we do have things that happen in life that you do take for granted, and you know, maybe I got a squabble with somebody, but this whole lockdown thing and looking out for your neighbor and looking out for everything certainly changes perspective. Now, as I roll into my next question here, we are from the United Kingdom, even though we are both happen to be in the great state of Wisconsin at this time. But I want to get a chance for people to get to know you and in your wrestling career. How long have you been wrestling?
I embarked on my journey in 2014. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a good 6 years now. Going on 6 years. I you know, started out at the Monster Factory. I mean, I've loved it so far, and I've had some really cool experiences.
And who broke you in to say who had a hand in training Rico De La Vega?
Okay, so initially when I started, like I mentioned before, I started at the Monster Factory, who at the time I was trained by head coach Danny Cage, the Blue Meanie, Wild Bill Wiles, who was ECW original, known as Bilvis President as well. Bilvis Wesley, QT Martel in AEW, Damian Priest who's in NXT. So those all have me, and of course, you know, I'm good friends with Riddle, and him and I have actually trained together as well. You know, I guess you can say that kind of helped influence me a bit as well.
Now, did you meet Matt Riddle during Evolve?
No, actually,
Monster Factory.
Yeah, the Monster Factory. I literally started. So the way I got to the Monster Factory, when I got there, it was June. So I remember it was June 1st, and Danny invited me in for a tryout. I tried out, you know, took my bumps and all that stuff. I was 250 pounds. Like, I looked bad. After the tryout, he took me into the gym area, which we have at the factory. And he was like, take your shirt off. I was like, all right, cool. Where's this going? And he's like, okay, you say you want to be a wrestler. You're here, but you're not showing me that you want to be a wrestler. You don't look like a wrestler. I was like, I'm not going to take you. I got turned away. That shit fucked me up. It killed me. And one of the things about me, the worst thing you can tell me is that I can't do something. So lo and behold, I come back August 28th or 29th to the Monster Factory. I then started dieting. Harder. I went from a sloppy 250 to a decent looking 209. I was working at a bank at that time, so I showed up to the Monster Factory in a shirt and tie, you know, usual garb. And Danny has a double take. He's like, hey, how's it going? Looks back, he's like, holy shit, dude, is that you? And, it's like, well, fuck, you showed me. Do you want to start? I was like, yeah, you want to start now? I was like, fuck yeah. So I take my shirt off. You know, I got my wife beater. Nick Camarado, who's Nick Ogarelli at NXT, he gave me his shoes. Danny gave me his wrestling shoes. I had a pair of pads from Punishment Mark, Damian Priest. And yeah, man, I started. And dude, I'm telling you, it's been such a great journey. It's like such humble beginnings, and to be able to share that ring and to sit under the such you know, such big names now. Thinking back, it's like, fuck, man. It's just very overwhelming, the fact that I've been able to sit under such learning trees, such as the people that I mentioned before. So, you know, that's where it all started.
That's awesome. I cannot imagine you at 250 pounds now. What do you? I imagine you might be a little bit heavier during the pandemic. Well, no, maybe you've been getting out and going stuff. So, are you still right around 209?
No, actually, after that, I got to a solid 204. I was very muscular. I then tore both my labrum about a couple years back, which I couldn't work for about 10 months. Couldn't work out, couldn't wrestle, anything. I went from a solid 204 to a sloppy, to a sickly looking 170.
Holy cow!
Yeah, a lot of guys reached out to me like, dude, are you okay? What's going on? People think either I was really sick or on something. Like even now, diet ginger ale. You know what I mean? I try to maintain, but I'm usually now these days I teeter between 195 and 96. Lately, I'm not gonna lie, I've lost a lot of muscle because of the gym, and I've gained a little bit of that. I got all the time, man. You can fix fat, but you can't fix ugly. So I'm halfway there. But in any event, yeah, you know, I still have my resistance bands, and when I go to work, I'm there just pounding them out. It's not the same as weight. Yeah, I like a big metal, you know, push your weight gym. I don't like machines. So, you know, just waiting for these gyms to open back up, get back on it.
Yeah, I tell you what, from like the marketplace and Craigslist, if you were sitting on any free weights or dumbbells or barbells, you're sitting on a gold mine right now for what they're going for, you know.
It's like crack, dude. I'm like online, and it's like fucking, oh yeah, you can get these two 50-pound barbells. I got man, hook you up, $400. What the fuck, dude?
Get the fuck out of here, yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I've got some. My nephew will be his senior season in football.
Okay.
Next year. Kid's a wide-out defensive back, faster than I ever could have dreamed of being. But now I've got some resistance bands and stuff I want to send him because he can't work out. He's going into his senior year, and it's just, man, you know. But I'm like, man, maybe I should drive him down so people aren't pulling stuff out. So, before you started training, you're a young Rico De La Vega. What what or who? What gets you the bug of pro wrestling? Who are you watching? Who are you seeing on the TV that you're like first starts to get you go, hey, I want in on this.
Okay, so it's great. I've told this story so many times, and I love it when it's asked because it's like it's one of those things that never changes. You know how stories always change, you know, through time. Like what was it, telephone in elementary school? It was like
Right.
television. So so initially, my first experience with professional wrestling was back when I was very young. I was like maybe 4, 5, 6, hyper kid, jumping around. My mom, you know, she's by herself, so she's trying to get shit done. So she sits me in front of the TV, and I remember, I want to say it's Saturday Night Main Event or either Wrestling Challenge. I don't freaking remember, but I just remember the green streak running across the screen. Boom, and I was mesmerized. Now, at that time, you tell me what green tassels you're going to see buzzing by your TV screen, shaking the robes, going crazy. It's the Ultimate Warrior. And the Ultimate Warrior, to me, he was, during that time, that era, you know, that's when you wanted those superheroes. They were really big. It was superheroes, the good versus bad. Then it became the occupational gimmicks with like the plumber and the hockey player, blah, 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 and the MVP and shit. So during that time, it was about the hero. Everybody like used to like lean more towards Hulk Hogan. Not me. I was an Ultimate Warrior guy. Like I had the action figures, like not the bendable ones. Like I ended up having those. But remember the ones that were like this or like this? It was Iron Sheik
Yeah.
or Billy Jim. So I had those. I would play with them. I would just like be intrigued by weekly watching these guys, and then rock and roll, rock and wrestling. You know, with Hulk Hogan, the animated
Love
series, it was great. But it wasn't until you know, it was a fun time. It was like a kid's play thing at that time. Then I'll never forget, the Undertaker made his debut. Man, man. Dude, when I'll never forget, $1 Million Man brought him out initially. He then handed the reins over to Brother Love, which then handed it over to Paul Bear. I watched all of that. I watched when he was being advertised. Not too many know that. Uh, but that just goes to show, like, this is how in depth I was with it. So I remember watching it, and dude, I'll never forget just the mystique and the fact that he created such an aura about himself. Um, you know, he was the one that, you know, at that point, it was still too soon for me to say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and embark in a career in this because I had no clue what I was doing. But I definitely knew I wanted to be part of it in any way possible. And lo and behold, when I came from Puerto Rico and moved to the United States, I moved to New Jersey. I moved to Paulsboro, New Jersey, home of the world famous Monster Factory. As a child, that would have been very, very essential to know for me. You know, I could have moved so many places because I didn't end up going back to the Monster Factory in 2 years, years later. But yeah, the Ultimate Warrior initially got me to gain that interest. The Undertaker intrigued me to follow it and follow it by storyline, by, you know, this guy's attributes, his character. You know, I got more into it that way. Uh, then, you know, going through school, life happens. I was a young father, so I had kids very young. So once that happened, you know, you gotta put the toys away for a little bit and take care of business. It wasn't until my youngest son was 6 years old. We're sitting on the sofa watching Raw, and his favorite at the time was Sin Cara, the original one. And and there was a spot that happened, and I was like, "Puppy, that was so sick! Like, did you see that? That was really cool." And he looks at me dead ass in the eyes, and he's like, "Daddy," he's like, "If you love it so much, why don't you do it?" And that right there, like, you gotta understand when you're usually the one that's supposed to be teaching your kids. Like my kid taught me something that day. Basically, practice what you preach because I always tell my kids, hey, if you got to do it, rock it until the wheels fall off because I would rather have 100 failures than 100. Like, I don't like second guessing myself. I don't like thinking back in the day like, oh man, what if I had done this? What if I had done that? No, I'd rather you tell me, hey, dude, stop. You're not going to make it. You suck. And even then, I'm still going to fucking try until this body's broken up and my arms and legs are like to the point where I'm in a wheelchair. I'm gonna keep at this. whether it be at a wrestling capacity, managerial, commentary, doesn't matter. I'm still going to get big and I'm still going to get some. But again, looking at my son, looking at me, telling me if you love it, why quit? I trust and I had to put my money where my mouth was because I'm telling him, hey, baby, because he wants to be a football player. He's like, keep doing your running back thing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep following, every regimen I've told you. Stay focused, but don't give up. Don't give up. So who the fuck am I to be like, hey, I do love this shit. And I do it. So that's when I took that shot in the dark. I went, got turned away, started eating nothing but vegetables, jogging every day, got signed up. And again, I know we got sidetracked from the original question, but I'm getting to it.
All right.
Back into the factory. That was August 29th. Danny told me to start. A month later, in October, Matt got there. So Riddle got there. So that's when him and I kind of like instantly hit it off. We were both parents. We were both really laid back. Like, we were like, bro. It was that type of deal. So, like, once we connected, he was like, dude, where you live? I was like, I live out here. Where are you? He was about 2 hours away. So, we would help each other train. He would train at a gym out in Pennsylvania. So he'd invite me over to then we'd end up at his place. I'd play with the kids and, we all just hang out all the time. And, we became really, really close to this day. So, with good advice. And I'm not one to ride anybody's coattails or use anybody's fame to my advantage. For folks like him in order to help me get to that next step in the career I'm trying to get.
Yeah, how awesome is that when you've got somebody who, like you said, has made that step and you've been tight. I'm going to back up a bit. Do you recall on Wrestling Challenge and Superstars when the Undertaker first came out and he's stuffing guys into body bags?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Crazy.
Hardy, who was it? Barry Hardy, Barry Horowitz, all the job guys from back then, Jason Knight, fucking Scott Taylor, who was fucking Scotty Too Hottie. Yeah, I remember all.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I've got a sneak preview. I've talked to him. We're friends on Facebook, but Van Horn wrestled early 80s, but not quite. So he didn't make the Undertaker, but he has told me some incredible stories that I cannot wait to get him on for an interview because it's just he was talking about Rick Rude and Randy Savage and how cool the guys were, and he's just typing this on Facebook and I'm reading every word. So I asked him last week or so if we could get him on, and he said absolutely, and I'm just stoked because I'm a fan of the history of the business, and there's no better history when you can hear, that's why I like doing this, and that's why I try to go 15 minutes on these interviews.
No, for
when
sure.
guys start talking wrestling, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Tell me more. Tell me more. So moving on then, you have now you're done training. You have wrestled and performed, whether it's commentating, managing, as we talk about, many different things for a number of different companies. Now, me being the journalist that I am, meaning that I try to look at Wikipedia, I just try to do these live, but I know that you were doing some stuff with Ring of Honor as a Spanish language commentator. I know you've done some stuff with MLW and stuff. Can you kind of give me a rundown? And I'm not asking you to brag, but it's cool. I want to hear some of the companies that you've had spent some time with.
I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. With Honor, obviously, I did the Spanish commentary, but I also did English. I worked television a few times with Ian Riccaboni by me. And it was really cool because with the commentary thing, I got to sit under Ian's learning tree, who's a monster, as well as Kevin Kelly. And Kevin Kelly, I mean, the name is not great commentary, he's definitely up there. So it was really cool working with them. I got called in initially for the Spanish stuff. And the whole plan was, when we break it down, because obviously I did my tryout. They saw that I was really strong with them. We're looking for somebody to fill it, like, hey, you know what? We're going to do Spanish language. Let's try this out with Rico. Kevin Kelly and Hunter Delirious, they kind of let me know, yeah, we want to bring you on. I'm like, hell yeah. Did a few pay-per-views with them. Finished. Everything worked out. Started doing some TV. You know, and the plan was essentially I transitioned commentary to managing, you know, Future of Honor. Eventually, I was going to do a match with Future of Honor, but that was right before I joined. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I would train. I was training at the Monster Factory, but 40 minutes away, the Ring of Honor dojo when it was in Bristol, Pennsylvania at the time. It was only 40 minutes. So I would go the nights that I'm not at the factory. I'd go train with Cheeseburger, Red Titus. You never knew who would show up. You know, just kind of planting the seeds because, again, I love the fact that I can consider myself a triptych in regards to, you know, knowing the aspect of management, knowing the aspect of commentary, and now, you know, delving more and more into the wrestling aspect of it. So, because I'll be honest, man, it's good to be one in this business. That's how you keep your credibility. You get some relevance. And hell, I've got friends right now. The 2 female reps in WWE, good friends of mine, great workers on indies, excellent workers. Like these 2 chicks are fucking amazing. Well, her name's Jess. Well, that's her shoe name. So Jess and Naja, really great workers. But if the WWE is going to hire you and they see something in you in a ref, go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Let me close this window because I got some guy mowing the lawn outside. Give me a second.
Hey, sounds good. Hey, we're live here. I'm going to shut mine too.
We're live, pal.
All right.
We're fucking live. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey. I just had a loud motor go by myself. Yeah, so I do talent recognizes talent. I do know some of those people that do sign on. My question is, and I don't know the dates that you were with Ring of Honor, but August 9th, 2019 in Toronto is the Summer Supercard. Were you already gone with Ring of Honor, or were you up there?
The last show I did with them was, well, as far as on screen, the last show I did on screen was Final Battle 2018.
Okay. And the reason why I bring it up is, as you know, Wrestling Travel, we bring fans all over the world. We brought fans in for SummerSlam, but as you know, when there's a WWE event, everybody comes and takes advantage of having the fans there. And as fans, I always encourage our guys from the UK, man, get a ticket. There was some Progress shows there. I'm like, you guys are UK fans. You like Walter.
Yes.
You got to see Walter in I've seen more people in a Wisconsin indie show than some of these seatings. That they got small seatings, and you're seeing some big time talent going on. Trent Seven and stuff. Anyway, I encourage our British guys, please, buy a ticket. We're going to Ring of Honor tonight at the Maple Leaf Gardens, which is awesome to be there. We get there, and our guys have decided that they were going to do some day drinking. And I can see them. They bought front row ringside for the Ring of Honor show. During the Matt Taven Alex Shelley match, which was second to the main, which was the Briscoes versus the Guerrillas of Destiny.
Yes. Okay.
Our guys passed out in the front row. One of the dudes that came with us passed out during Alex Shelley and Matt Taven, and they grabbed his shoe and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness. As a company, I was like, but then I realized I'm going to check on the guy, but I can't be responsible for an adult's action. I was just wondering if you had worked that show, because I was going to say, not so proudly, but that was one of our guests, will say.
Like, yeah, I take credit for that one.
What this one's tough. This is the tough question, and it's not like hard hitting. Some of the people that you have been in the ring with, who are some of your favorite opponents, and it's not to take away from any of your opponents, but are there a couple decent names where you're like, yeah, man, we had a solid match, maybe a favorite match, or like this one was spot on. I'm really proud of it. Can you name a couple for us, and then we can always, as fans, look them up.
Hell, I'd be shocked if you could see any televised ones. A lot of
Okay.
it is, and maybe this is a plug, but you know what? Yeah, this is a plug because support.
Please plug.
It's the MF Network, which is the Monster Factory, the MFPW. That's their network. A lot of my will be on there. Obviously, I've been with the Monster Factory for a very long time. A lot of the stuff that's on YouTube, I'll be honest, it's a lot of my stuff from like, you know, when I was super green. So whatever. I mean, do what you want with it. But I had to pick like I can't say favorite match as far because you can categorize it differently because the favorite match that I have because of the I had with the person. There's a favorite match I have because of the moves I was able to do. There's a favorite match because of the back and forth banter we had. So if I had to narrow it down and just kind of give just an overall, my match with Shaheem Ali. He's from Ring of Honor. He's was one of the tag members for Coast to Coast, another factory guy. Me and Shaheem Ali. Shaheem Ali, the thing about it is, like, we're all part of this group now. We have a faction that's coming out. It's called the Division, with myself and a bunch of other monsters. But Shaheem Ali and I, we're really good friends outside the ring. So in the ring, he was able, and I was green at the time, but he was able to like basically walk me through everything. And dude, this match, I feel very fortunate that I was able to have such a smooth match at such an early time in my career. He helped me get the confidence to like be like, shit, man, I can walk out and really do some shit. So myself and Shaheem Ali, that one. I also like the match that I had with Blue Meanie, simply because, you know, everybody wants to have that match versus, you know, the guy who trained. I never got that with Damian Priest because, you know, the way it happened with our whole little crew of faction, they turned on me. So, you know, I got into thumbtacks with Abyss. Yeah, go figure. So, but yeah, if I had to pick, definitely it's gonna be Blue Meanie because, you know, I want to wrestle the guy who trained me. You know, the one I met before that, and also I want to say Tito Santana, just for the name power and just for the fact that, remember, I'm a Hispanic kid, and growing up, you like seeing your own kind because it gives you kind of like, it gives you that, hey, you know what, he's doing that, I can do it too. You know, it's not limited to just this type of person or that type of person, big body, little body, whatever. So guys like Tito Santana, Pedro Morales, you know, the Rey Mysterios, and Eddie Guerrero, oh my God, of course. Those are the guys that drove me. Hell, even Razor Ramon, even though he's like some white dude playing a Hispanic, but just the fact that, you know, we're being portrayed, that was also part of the reason of fueling, you know, all of that. But yeah, as far as like, if I had to pick 3 favorite matches, those would be.
Now, is the Tito Santana match readily available that you know of?
I know somebody recorded it. It was in WPW. It was actually myself with my partners with Caribbean Arrogance.
Awesome. Yeah, Tito Santana, I can't remember. It was before I started training, so it had to be 95, 96, way after the AWA had closed down, but Vern still ran a show at a casino somewhere in Minnesota. And I remember it was Wahoo versus Larry Zbyszko.
Oh, man.
But Tito was there, and I loved it. I was a fan. You know, I'm just a college kid. But he's like, man, you got the size. He goes, look at this guy right here, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of gives you that, you know, and guys just say that, but it gives you that little bit of confidence as you're like, yeah. So I've met Tito. I think the last time I did see him was like 2015. Guy looks great.
Oh, he doesn't age.
Yeah, awesome. So we're a travel company, and I'm going way longer than I promised you. And I know we started late. So we take the fans to events all over the world, whatever they want to see. We eat, sleep, live, breathe wrestling. If you're a fan, we're one of the best. We treat you right. We bring in guys like you to come hang out. You might be having lunch with us, and we get somebody who's big in the business, somebody who's in the business come and hang out. I want to know, in your short career, I'm going to call it short, 2014, what are and we're a United Kingdom company. Have you had the opportunity to wrestle in the United Kingdom? And if not, what are some of the favorite cities that you've gotten to see?
Dude, and I'll tell you again and again, it's not a name drop, but you know, I did live with Matt. You know, Matt and I, we were roommates. You know, it was I used to take him to the airport when he used to work Progress, when he used to work OTT. Dude, I wanted to go on those shows. Fuck, man, he would come back with so many great stories, and you know, I'm a fan beforehand. They did it was Matt's second to last show. His second to last show was in Chicago with Evolve, which was a joint show with Evolve and Progress. The next show was going to be Detroit, which was his last show before he went to the E. And I remember we did it at Cicero over at in Illinois, in Chicago, basically. It's a suburb of Chicago or whatever. And just, you know, I'm sitting there just chatting it up, chopping it up with Jim Smallman. It was his birthday. I was there just helping out. I was translating for Benito and for Mita with Progress and shit. So, you know, everybody did a video for Jim's son and everything. You know, I got to hang out with Jimmy Happ, like so many good dudes. And the wrestling in the UK, and I try to tell people, like, there's more than just WWE, just AEW, just Ravana. Like, there's so many hidden gems. You've got OTT. You've got so many companies, just not over the phone, but out here. Like, you've got Beyond. You've got PPW, which we talked about. You've got fucking oh man, so many right now. It's like AAW. There's so many things out now, but you've got so many companies that have such hidden gems that people are not tapping into. Right now is the time to explore because, again, not to veer away from the question, but in order for you to really delve into like professional wrestling and have something to compare it to, you have to dig deep into it, especially the ones over here. But yeah, definitely OTT Progress. I want to get out. Any capacity, whether it's manager, whether it's wrestler, whether it's commentary. If they need a honorary American accented fucking Spanish commentary, I'm in. But like Progress and OTT are really doing that.
Yeah, and as we close up, I wanted to talk about something that we did tap into off camera.
Yeah.
PPW, Pennsylvania Premier Wrestling, Paul Bowe, and the boys that run that. When we did the Mania crawl, I can't say enough good things about Paul Bowe and PPW. Bent over backwards. So much of their talent helped us up for Mania crawl. Now, getting back to me on doing a couple of these interviews they're slacking on, but I'll get to them. But talk about that. That's one of my favorite independent promotions because it just is. It's class, and for them, they bent over backwards to help us out with the Red Cross. So you've gotten an opportunity to wrestle there and to hang out with some of those guys.
Yeah, I was out there. Didn't get to wrestle there, but I was out there times. I was brought out there by Mike Orlando, a good buddy of mine. We used to train together at the Monster Factory. A guy out of Jersey. He brought me out there because I was living in Pennsylvania at the time, like I mentioned before. And yeah, Paul Bowe, I got to meet him, and he just like, hey, what's up? You know, you're one of the boys. Come on in. Let them know, obviously, hey, I'm here to help. Anything I can do for you on any capacity, I'm here and willing. I'll never forget. It's the first time I met Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons was there. Really, really cool. Really fucking cool. Like, I wanted to cut a promo where he would say damn, but say it in Spanish. But whatever. But yeah, dude, it was really cool. And, you know, like we talked about before, another buddy of mine from the Monster Factory, Clutch Adams, he's a big name out there. You know, Miranda Vinette, another girl who's doing her thing out Ali Rex. I mean, the whole Federated crew. Like, those are my guys and shit. So once I got out there and got to kind of break bread with them, you can tell just by the locker room itself that it's worry-free. You know, Paul Bowe's running something good over there, and especially since they're doing the thing with Impact, that just speaks volumes for them. Like, if a company such as Impact is going to go ahead and give you that vote of confidence to sponsor one of their shows, I mean, that just right there tells you what type of businessman you are and what type of reputation you have within the wrestling business. But no, dude, PPW, definitely, like I said, I didn't get to wrestle. I went there a few times, and, you know, as a guest for Mike and stuff. But hell, dude, I'd love to go back just to check it out. Absolutely.
Yeah, and just to make sure I'm giving the devil his due, and I Paul Bow, I believe Tony and Scott, I believe there's a group of them running it. So as much as I love Paul Bow, I don't want to give him all the credit. I don't want to leave anybody out. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've met the rest of the boys. And it's you know how it is in the locker room.
Oh, I know exactly. They're
Paul
great.
Is definitely the one that, you know, he was like, you know how it is. Hey, make sure you say hi to him. Oh yeah, for sure, I'm saying hi to him. So, good.
What I like about that is, as a fan, they run a monthly show and they bring a Ron Simmons out. They bring a Blue Meanie out. They man, a couple of the shows I've gone to, they had Blue Meanie, Tommy Dreamer, and Little Guido. I'm like, cool. And then for your price of your ticket, your front row ticket includes your 8x10s and your meet and greet and everything. I'm like, you can't beat that. So as we close up here, what my hopes are is we have, and there's so many more questions. We might even have to do a part 2 one of these days. My hopes are we come out of this stronger, like we discussed. But I believe, and I don't know if it's just because I want to believe it, but I believe these shows that are going to happen once this pandemic is over, once we're able to have crowds, I think the intensity going to be shown by the wrestlers is going to be matched by the crowd, and these first few shows are going to be pretty epic because I know the fans miss it. I know the workers miss it. And I think that a lot of the fans that I used to talk to would say, I've always wanted to go to WWE and watch a show. That's great. If you want to sit up in the bleachers and watch that, that's awesome. But you're missing, if you got an independent show running just down the road from you, man, independent wrestling is something that even if you're not a pro wrestling fan, I've seen people get hooked on it just because if I see you wrestling, in fact, I think the last show I went to was in Marshfield, Wisconsin with Frontline Pro. I do believe you were on the card. If I were to boo you, you're going to hear me at indie wrestling. I mean, I love it. So that was more of a statement than a question, I guess. I assume you're. But before you go, what are your socials? You're going to send them to me so I can put them on the screen here. But how do people support Rico De La Vega? Do you have merch? Where can we keep track of you as fans? Can you give us the plugs?
Okay. You know, as far I'm pretty accessible through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Instagram, it's going to be real Rico DLV. DLV being the initials of De La Vega, and I'm sure it's going to be on the screen here shortly. So that's going to be my Twitter and IG handles. As far as Facebook, you can do facebook.com/ the same thing, real Rico DLV. I do have merch as far as shirts. That's something that I like doing directly. So just shoot me a DM if you're interested. You know, I have all sizes and stuff. Yeah, I just think, I don't know why. It's like, it's more intimate for me to be able to have that contact with the customer. I'm not any major star or anything like that. I don't need the secretary or a third party like what I sell to. I'm like, dude, reach out. If you want a shirt, you really want to support, I'll go ahead, just Venmo me and I'll send you the package. That's how I do it. So yeah, if there's any interest in any merch as far as my shirts go, contact me directly at any of the down below or the Facebook. And yeah, we'll go from there.
And I always forget to do this, but hit subscribe right here on our YouTube.
Yes, hit subscribe, hit like, and make sure that you share this because again, what they're doing right now, this is an amazing thing. Like, you got to understand that during this downtime, where if you're watching this, I'm only assuming that you're a hardcore fan of professional wrestling, and especially if you're watching me, who's again, like, I'm not any big deal, but you're still watching it for the sake of professional wrestling. I thank you, but hit that subscribe, hit that like button, because again, you're supporting wrestling. Share it so everybody else can support it and see what they have to offer, because they're really doing some great shit right now.
Hey, we appreciate it. Rico De La Vega, you stay safe. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we got to do this again because I start these interviews off and I'm like, I got a handful of questions and then my mind wanders and I got 10 more and I didn't even ask the first 5 that I had. So thank you very much.
Nah, for sure, man. Hit me up for the sequel. I'm always down.